Back to the Supreme Court's affirmative action decision, ruling now that it's unconstitutional for universities to consider race and ethnicity in admissions decisions. Our next guest supports the court's decision, recently writing an op-ed, Affirmative Action Hurts Asian American Kids Like Me. Alex Shieh is an incoming Brown University student and Boston Globe contributor. Alex, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning.
You know, I remember affirmative action back in the 90s and was actually using that as a topic of a speech I gave, where this issue, where Asian American students were actually left out of the conversation, has been going on for decades. How do you believe that affirmative action has negatively impacted the community?
Right. Well, I think if you look at the data in this lawsuit against Harvard in particular, I think it shows that among students with the same academic credentials, the acceptance rates for Asian students are far lower than that of other racial groups. And I think fundamentally that's unfair. But it does go down to sort of these racial tropes and stereotypes that are, of course, ingrained in the system when you are actively looking at race as a factor for all applicants. There is the model minority myth that Asians are hardworking yet bland, not personable, and lacking charisma. I think that sort of contributes when the implicit bias of the admissions officers are looking at Asian Americans and thinking that we can't really contribute in the same way to a diverse campus community as maybe students of other races. And I think it's an erroneous assumption. And so now I'm glad that the Supreme Court has ruled that you can't be using race as a factor when you're deciding who to accept.
It's interesting that in 2023, with a much more diverse nation than we've ever had, with more people who marry someone of a different ethnicity than we ever have, there's still this conversation, like some of the things that you're saying, some of those racial tropes that you're bringing up. Somehow, do you believe that when the race-based admissions were widely used, were Asian Americans not considered racial minorities at all?
Right. Well, I think if you look at the data, it shows that of all racial groups, Asians have the hardest time of getting into these schools. And for me, that seems a bit bizarre because the notion is that affirmative action is supposed to help groups that have been disadvantaged. And I think Asians are a minority. We certainly haven't in history discriminated against, say, white people, for instance. Yet Asian Americans are getting acceptance at lower rates than white people. So the whole argument kind of falls flat.
There are a lot of people actually wanting to push the end of standardized tests in admissions, saying that it's a barrier for underrepresented students. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that it's important to look at applications in context, right? And so students who go to, for instance, let's talk about AP testing, right? If you go to an underfunded school that doesn't offer AP classes, then I don't think you should be penalized for that. But it's all about looking at these things in context and seeing how well applicants are able to capitalize on the opportunities that they had.
Do you think that in this current year where we are as a nation, that the fact that this Supreme Court decided this, the fact that a majority or a large percentage of the U.S. actually agreed with this decision before Supreme Court justices made it official, that perhaps we need to have a new conversation about race in America?
I think so, because as you mentioned, most Americans think that this is the right call. I think that in 2020, voters in California, which normally you think of as a liberal state, and the Democrats are the one that support affirmative action, but voters in California by a pretty wide margin voted that they didn't want affirmative action in their public university system. So I think that this is something that the vast majority of Americans believe in, is that race shouldn't be determining who gets into college.
You know, you talk to a lot of older people, and they actually say that things are worse from a race-based or race relations standpoint than they were in the 60s. Do you agree with that?
Well, I think we've made a lot of progress since the 60s. I think that our country is more diverse than ever. I think, of course, there are still tensions going on, but I think that if you don't think we've made progress since the 60s, I think that you need to maybe observe what's happening today.
Maybe they need to go back to school, somebody might say. Question for you. This was a brave move. You put yourself out there. You shared your personal opinion. It's not popular with everybody, and it's clearly not popular with a lot of universities. What gave you the impetus or the courage to actually speak out and pen this op-ed?
Right. Well, I think it's important that I share my beliefs and share what I think the vast majority of Americans believe, and just to be a voice for people that might not feel so comfortable sharing their opinion. Because I think that even for the people that disagree with me, I hope that they would appreciate at least my willingness to engage with them in conversation and discourse. And because you can't reach solutions unless you talk about things.
Yeah. Conversations are important whether you agree with somebody or not. Thank you so much. We appreciate you being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.